Hi, welcome to How to Repair. Today we're going to be replacing a base element on a Beko cooker. This video will apply to freestanding cookers, double ovens like we have here, and also single ovens. We're going to be working on a single oven, and I'm going to explain the common problems that can be occurring and also where the base element is located and how to replace it. The base element is normally underneath the actual bottom panel, and this can only be accessed from the rear of the machine. So if you have a built-in appliance, it will need to be removed, and I cover this in the video. The base element is used normally on the conventional setting in conjunction with the actual grill. It will use part of the grill element in conjunction with the base element via the thermostat to control the temperature. On other occasions, it may be used in conjunction with the fan oven element. All these elements need to be actually in good working condition for the oven to function correctly. But sometimes it is very hard to understand what the problem is. Some of the most common problems that can occur are tripping the electricity supply on certain features, but on other features the oven works perfectly. It could also be that you're using it on the conventional oven setting where it's using the grill and the base element, but it may be burning the food at the top but not cooking on the underside. This could be because the element has gone open circuit. So in this video, I'll be teaching you all the common problems that can occur while we replace the element. This video will also show you how to remove the cooker out of situ, but this is time-stamped. So if you know how to do this, you can jump forward to the appropriate section so you can understand how to replace the element and diagnose the problem. If you have a freestanding appliance, it's easy to work on. But when you have a double oven like this one or a single oven like this one, we're going to need to take it out the housing first to actually work on the appliance. Okay, the first thing that needs to be done, you need to isolate the electricity at the fuse board because the plug for this appliance may be behind it or in an adjacent cupboard. You may have it hardwired as well, and this needs to be dealt with before we lift the cooker out of situ. When accessing the fuse board, you may have a single oven or a double oven. This is a 16 amp supply, this is a 32 amp supply, or you have the main switch. Turning these off, but if in doubt, you can always turn the main power to the property. Now that you've disconnected the electricity, it is safe for you to actually start removing the oven. Now what we need to do here now is remove the actual door, not only for the purpose of lightening the load on the appliance, but also to make sure that no damage occurs to the glass when we actually take the oven out of situ. To remove the oven door is quite simple. Just open it up. On the early models of Beko machine, there will be some catches on either side that you need to bend over to actually take the whole hinge out of the frame. But on the more modern cookers, there are a couple of catches that we need to press down. And just pressing these catches down on each side, and I'll put an exploded view of this in the side here, you will then be able to actually release the two pins on the door. Take the door up to its natural position, and then you will be able to slide it away. Now we're able to remove the interior of the oven. Now we're ready to take the cooker out, but on double ovens you will need a table, and I suggest putting a towel on top of it, and you may need two people to actually lift the cooker to get it out. With a single oven, I just use a small crate. Putting this down, we are then able to remove the two screws that hold the actual cooker to the chassis of the cabinet. On double ovens, there may be up to 6 screws. Now that you've removed all the screws, we're ready to lift the cooker out. Putting your hand inside the oven, carefully lift the oven over and slide it out, dropping it down onto the case. Now, if you are using a larger oven, you will need to actually have some help doing this. We're now able to turn this around to the side, making sure that you're not pulling the cable too hard. Then we'll be ready to disconnect the appliance from the electricity. If your oven is plugged in, you'll now be able to remove the plug. But if it is hardwired in, we have to undo the electrical connection. You may even have an isolation socket behind the cooker. To remove, just put a small screwdriver in, and there's 2 clips on this that you need to put your screwdriver in just to lift up. But to double check everything, do go across the live and the neutral connection to check that there is no electricity present. As there is no electricity present, it's safe to undo. Undoing the retaining clip, move that away. Now we can undo the live, the neutral, and the earth. The cable can now be pulled out and put safe. Now that you've removed the cooker and you know how to take the door off and disconnect it from the electricity, we can start actually taking the appliance apart. We need to remove the top cover first, and this just has a few screws all the way around it. Be careful of the sharp edges. Lifting the panel, take it away. Just to quickly go through all the components with you, we have the selector switch at the top here, the timer, the cooling fan assembly, and the thermostat. The light fitting is here, but we need to remove the back panel. Once you have undone the screws, on older cookers, the whole panel will lift off, but be careful of the electrics at the junction box. On the new Bekos, they've made it nice and easy. Actually, a nice panel that hinges away. Now, I'm actually going to remove the wires off the junction box. If you are doing this, make sure you take a picture of where the wires go. This is only for ease of filming, so I don't block the view at all. Then the panel will just lift up and come away. Okay, the first thing you're going to need is a multimeter. Now, the multimeter can be used in two ways to check elements. You've got continuity and also an ohms reading. And we'll be testing the element both ways so I can show you how to do it. I'll just place that there for you. But I really want to explain how the oven works in conjunction with the base element. The base element is connected via the selector switch, and I have a selector switch here to show you. The selector switch has multiple contacts on it, which go through to every component on the cooker. These selector switches have been used so wrongly over the last few years because manufacturers and general public have either not read the manual or manufacturers have not put enough emphasis in the way that selector switches should be used. You should never have the thermostat set to any temperature whatsoever when turning the selector switch. If you do that, you will burn the contacts out or you will melt the plastic on the cam or possibly one of the connections. Top tip, that one. There's another video on that as well, explaining in depth what can go wrong. The actual commutator, selector switch connects to all the components via the thermostat to the elements. Now, the elements themselves may have gone open circuit, or the element may be tripping the electricity, meaning it's going to earth. Again, I've done detailed videos on this. But to test the base element, you would actually turn your meter on. I'll just put it there so you can see. You can either set it to continuity to do a basic test, and that would just be checking the circuit across the element, or you can turn it on to ohms, and I'm setting it to 200 ohms range, and I have got an ohms reading of 47.9. Using that ohms reading in conjunction with an Ohm's law calculator, you are able to ascertain the wattage of the element, which I'll put on the screen here for you. But before actually going any further, it is well worth testing all the other elements and make sure you take a picture of the wiring before starting to pull things off. The grill element has got a twin circuit, meaning it's a dual grill element. So you've got the inner circuit and the outer circuit. On ohms again, testing it, I've got 54.3 on the outer circuit, and on the inner circuit, I've got 52.4, 52.5. That all works out correctly. This is a new cooker, of course, and I'm using this for video purposes for you. Taking one of the wires off the actual fan oven element, I can check that as well, and we have an ohms reading of 28.5, meaning that this is a high wattage item. This is a high wattage item, but with a twin circuit, and the base element is a low wattage item. Okay, when it comes to actually testing the actual elements on the cooker, when you have an insulation problem or the electricity is tripping, this means that the consumer board is tripping the electricity to the house because something is going to earth. Now, engineers have things called appliance testers, Meggers, and so on. These are very specialist instruments, and I would not expect you to own one. But I will quickly test one of these elements using the appliance tester. And I'm just connecting to earth here. I need to get a test lead, and I'll bring this up to the camera for you in a second. Putting the live and neutral onto the element. And I'm also going to connect up the earth to the earth that runs through the whole cooker. And I'll bring this up to the screen for you here. Turning this on, we are actually going to be doing a test on that individual element. And if I run a class 1 test here, you will see it goes through a system of tests, and it's testing the actual element to see if there is any leakage going to earth. And as you can see on the screen here, it's passed all the actual tests that it does. This is great, especially when you've got lots of money to buy equipment like test equipment, but general public isn't always able to do that because the equipment is £400 or £500 to buy. But the easiest way to explain how to isolate the problem is to use some tape, tape the 2 wires off the actual element and make sure that they're safe. Then you would be able to plug the appliance back into the electricity supply to see if it actually trips the electric. If it does not trip the electric, then you can presume that the base element was faulty. But what you need to remember is as cookers get old, you may have more than one element causing the problem. In other words, you could have a combination of elements causing an excess earth leakage and therefore tripping the electricity in the house. So you would want to isolate all the elements and then do it methodically, one by one, reconnecting to see which elements are causing the problem. I hope I explained that correctly for you. Now that we've tested all the elements and we know the elements are good, I'm going to show you how to remove the base element. The fan motor is here. This is the distribution fan, and we have a cooling fan at the top that will come on at a required temperature when the oven electrics need cooling, and this will continue running maybe 10-15 minutes after you've finished cooking because it's trying to cool down the actual outer cavity. Now, we also have a cutout thermostat here that is there for safety, but all these information videos on these items can be found at the website. So to remove the base element, I'm just going to take the other terminal off. We have to take the actual insulation and carefully lift the insulation up, trying not to damage it, because the most important part of all ovens is the actual insulation, as that's what keeps the heat inside the oven and not going to the external of the cabinet. You can see here we have one screw. Underneath that, just undo the screw. Then we can slide the element out. I will tell you now, some of these can be sticky on old cookers because they warp in shape. This is because the element gets extremely hot. Just slide the element out, and if it needs replacing, you just put the new element in exactly the same way. Inside here, you will actually see the cavity itself, and you will also see where the element needs to sit. And I'll put a detailed video of this in the sidebar here. But just sliding the element in, making sure you locate it everywhere correctly. You may need to give it a wriggle just to get it into the correct location. And then replace the screw. Make sure the insulation goes down correctly and you push it all the way around so that the cavity is well sealed. Reconnect up the wiring. Replace all the panels on the cooker. And there we go. I hope this video helped you fix your cooker or oven. Remember, if you have any further questions, I will need your brand, your model number, and a detailed description of the fault. or you could upload a video to YouTube and send us the link. You can either use the comments below or the contact us page at the website, and the link is in the description below. And if you do need any parts for your cooker or oven, remember some parts are serial number dependent, so make sure you have all the relevant information before ordering the parts. Thank you very much indeed for watching this video. If we really helped you, you can always click on the Bipolar Beer page to support the website, as that's what keeps us going and able to make these videos for you. Thank you very much indeed for watching.